all the advice by concentrating on the subject matter without judging. Adult Conversations runs from Monday through Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m., because we are here to break the culture of sex. So if you have a story that you want us to profile, if you have a story that you want us to share here on Adult Conversations, make sure you send in your story as well as your name and contact telephone number. Send in your story with your name and contact telephone number just in case we need to reach you to ask further questions. Tonight on Adult Conversations. My name is Priye. My husband and I have been married for 6 years, and he always complains when I ask him for money around the house. When we first got married, we told each other what we earned, and I discovered that my husband earned almost twice my salary. The problem here is that he never pays for anything or drops money for anything, including the children's school fees, without me asking. And then he'll say that I nag a lot when I know he has the money. Because of this, I end up paying for most things while he spends his money on just himself. I got promoted at work recently and I now earn more than he does. I'm scared that if I tell him of the promotion, he will never step up with the finances of the family. I need advice, please. All right, so this is Priya sending me a message today. Priya is saying that she and her husband have been married for about 6 years, and he always complains when she asks for money for the house. When they first got married, they talked to each other, told each other all about how much they earned, and she discovered that her husband earned about twice her salary, almost twice her salary. Now, the problem with earning almost twice her salary, according to Priya, is that her husband never drops money for anything. He never pays for anything, including the children's school fees. And this is if she doesn't ask for it. If she asks is when he'll do it. But if she doesn't ask, he's not going to get anything done. And then he'll say that she's nagging, even when she knows that he has the money. Now, because of this, she says she ends up paying for most things while he spends his money on just himself. Priya got promoted recently at work, and now she earns more than he does. But she's scared that if she tells him of the promotion, he will never step up with the finances of the family because now he knows that she can afford to do more. So, what is the advice to Priya this evening? The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. You can also send in text and WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Now, when you call, please remember to turn down the volume of your radio. Turn it all the way down so that we can have a smooth flow of conversation without any interference. Thank you very much. Also, when you call, please keep your advice short, simple, and constructive without attacking any other person's point of view, please. Don't attack any other person's point of view. Thank you very much. Finally, when you call in, please keep your comments down to 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the most. A maximum of 2 minutes, and if you have to go further, 3 minutes at the most. 3 minutes maximum, that's it. And that's about it. So please keep to that, and we'll have a good conversation, I believe. Now, if you want to join the Adult Conversations group chat, you can do that by sending your name and WhatsApp number on WhatsApp to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. Now remember, add your name and indicate interest in joining the group in that message so that we can know what to do and you'll be added onto the group. Taking a cue from the Adult Conversations family group chat, this one is coming in from Choma from Lambe. Choma says, my advice for you is don't tell him anything. Don't tell him anything. And that's what Choma from Lambe is saying. Cheesy from Matogon is saying, Good afternoon, everyone. My advice for Priye is that she should not tell him about her promotion at work since he doesn't provide for the family. Because if she does so, he might start bringing his own needs to her or he might start borrowing money from her, which he might not pay back. And that's coming from Cheesy from Matogo. Chinwe from Ejigbo is saying, good evening, lady. Since he's the type that doesn't like to spend on upkeep of the house, don't tell him about the promotion. You have to be asking him for money for the children's welfare. You can't do it alone no matter how much you earn. And that's coming from Chinwe from Ejibu. Okay, kindly call back. The number to call is 07000 917 The phone line is open. Share your advice to Priye at this point. 07000 917 What do you think? Should she tell him about the promotion or not? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio.
I have.
Okay, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Mrs. Deborah. I'm calling from Lagos.
You're calling from where?
Lagos.
Okay, Mrs. Deborah from Lagos. All right, please go ahead.
Okay.
What's your advice?
Okay, my advice is that she should not tell her husband anything. Don't tell him anything.
Okay.
Because the man might stop providing anything. Like, how can you have children and you don't even want to pay school fees if you are not being paid? It's not fair. On her part, it's not fair. It's like she's just working, and nothing to show for it.
So you're suggesting that she shouldn't tell him about the promotion then?
Yes, she should not tell him about the promotion.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Deborah.
And
Okay.
try also not to tell his friends or his family members because definitely he's going to get out.
So if she tells anybody else, it can get back to him.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that added information. Thank you, Mrs. Deborah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. So Mrs. Deborah first caller today, and she's saying, don't tell him about the promotion, particularly because he's the type that doesn't contribute. He doesn't do anything, and she thinks it's very unfair that he doesn't. And she's also adding, don't tell anyone in your family or don't tell anyone in his family or his friends because it might get back to him. Hello, good evening.
Hello,
Good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio.
I've done that.
Thank you so much.
Juliet from Lagos.
Juliet from Lagos, thank you very much for calling.
Juliet from Lagos.
Yes, thank you for calling, Juliet. Please go ahead.
This is first time caller.
Oh, I like the sound of that. That's amazing. Here you go.
Please, my advice to Priye, she shouldn't tell the husband or even her friends or relatives concerning the promotion because he cares about everything about the home upkeep. So whenever if she tells her the work will be much on her and even the family work, the thing that he's supposed to do for his family, he end up telling her to do it. I know most of our Nigerian men, they are fond of that. They're careless. Most of them care less about their family. So she shouldn't tell her, and she should try as much as possible not to carry all the load by herself. It may shock her. The children are still growing up. I'm a mother of 4. I know what I'm talking about.
Of course. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juliet. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Juliet from Lagos is saying, don't tell anyone about your promotion. Now, this might be hard because you might have worked really hard for this. You must have worked really hard for this, and you want to share the good news with someone. But she's saying if you do and it gets back to him, then what's the point? She's advising don't do this because it will choke you if you have to take care of the children by yourself. So he still needs to contribute something, and he won't be contributing that something if you tell him about the promotion. So she's advising against it. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Good evening.
Good evening. Am I speaking with Young?
Yes, this is Young from Ikurudi.
Hello, Young. Good evening. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. A man who cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. That's what God said, not me.
Mm.
So if that is what she's been doing, I would suggest she keeps it to herself. And adding to what Bora said, not only keeping it from her friends and relatives, I suggest she shares or keeps the promotion letter very far from the reach of the entire house.
Okay, this is so that any day he starts looking around, he's still not going to find it, right?
Yes, because even if you keep it for him and he eventually finds the promotional letter by accident, that will cause a big war in the family. So I suggest that keeping it from friends and her relatives, even her own relatives, even the man's relatives, and the promotional letter, make sure it's nowhere to be found within your house. That is my suggestion. Until he rises to the occasion.
Of course.
Until he realizes that he is the man of the house, then you can tell him that you just got promotion and life continues.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, Young. Thank you again.
Yeah.
All right. He's saying not only should you hide it from your friends and family, from his friends and family as well, but you should also either tear or keep the promotion letter far away from where your husband can find it. The reason he's saying this is because if he stumbles upon the letter any of these days, it's going to cause a big problem. So it's going to cause a really big problem, from one step to another, and then he's going from, oh, you didn't tell me about it. Before you know it, you don't trust me enough to let me know, something like that. Before you know it, it's like, how many other people have you told that you didn't tell me? Before you know it, and it's escalating and it's escalating and it's escalating. And he's saying, so that you will prevent that until he steps up to being the father and husband that he's supposed to be, then you can share the news with him. You can just tell him that, oh, I just got promoted. But in the meantime, Young is saying, keep it away from him for as long as you can. And of course, hide the promotion letter so that he doesn't find it and he never comes up. So that at least he will have room to take care of some things. Kindly call back if you can. The number is 07000 917 917. Prayer is asking, I've worked really hard for this promotion and I've been promoted. And now I earn more than my husband does. He doesn't do anything in the house. He hardly does anything without me asking, even as far as taking care of the children's school fees. They've been married for 6 years, and this has been going on for that long. And Priya is saying when they first got married, they were in full disclosure mode. She told him how much she earned. He told her how much he earned. And then she discovered that he was earning almost twice of her salary. But years have passed, obviously, and now Priya has worked really hard, and she has just been promoted recently at her office, and now she's saying she earns more than her husband. But as glad as she is about the promotion, she's finding it hard to decide whether to share the news with him, because now she's thinking, if I tell him about my promotion, chances are that he will never step up to do anything again for the house. Don't forget that anytime she asks, he's always saying, oh, she's nagging and she's making a big deal out of something, when she's only asking for the children, for the house. But he ends up spending his money mostly for himself because he hardly does anything without she asking. So Priya is kind of confused as to whether to share the promotion news with him or not. And this is where you come in. What is your advice to Priya? Do you think she should share the news with him regardless? Do you think this is too happy an occasion for her to keep this kind of news away from him? Or do you think this would be an entry point for him to be able to say, you've worked really hard for this promotion. How about I do my part in the house to at least appreciate you and acknowledge you for all your effort? Do you think that's going to come up? The whole point of this is Priya is asking if she should share the news of the promotion with her husband. She wants to know what you think, and she wants to know if this will affect him stepping up and doing things for the house and for the children like he absolutely should as the father and as the man that he is, which he currently doesn't do. So Priya is asking, what do you think? Should I share the news with him or not? The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Should Priya share this promotion news with him or not. Send in text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. 0703 175 6537. What do you think tonight? Do you think it's better or do you think it's worse? I want to hear what your thoughts are. And I believe very strongly that Priye also wants to hear what your thoughts are. What do you think she should do? Do you think Priye can hold this up if her husband actually goes the other way around, which everyone is predicting now? If it goes the other way around and he actually just accepts that, oh, you've gotten a promotion, so that means you earn more now. And then he's hiding his money. He's not spending it on the house. The money is not benefiting him. It's not benefiting the home in any way. Then Priya will be forced to go back to spending most of her money on the family, which is what she already does. But when somebody works really hard for a promotion, they deserve something for themselves. They deserve to make new plans. They deserve to want to do new things, to want to invest, to want to buy property, something that they can use to say, okay, I worked this hard and I deserve this thing. But Priya is concerned that if she doesn't tell her husband and he finds out, it will make a big problem. But at the same time, if she tells him, he's going to feel inclined to do even less than he's already doing. Why? Because he knows that even if he doesn't do it, she'll get it done. So, what do you think about this story? The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. What is your suggestion? What is your suggestion? That's the number to call. So call in and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. Because honestly speaking, when you've really worked hard for something, you want to share the news with the world. You want everyone to know how you feel. You want to be proud about it, and you want to boast about it. And you want people to tell you, congratulations, Priya. You've done an amazing job. Well done, girl. I knew you could do it. You want people to encourage you, want them to hype you, want them to celebrate you. And no woman wants this coming from anyone more than she wants it coming from her husband. But now, in Priya's case, it's not the case. This is just not the case. As a matter of fact, she's being advised to tell no one, almost literally tell no one. And that's because it could be used against her later on. It could be used against her later on. It could be brought back and her husband will say, oh, you thought I wouldn't find out? And it will make a really big deal again for a marriage that they're working on. So I don't want to just keep talking. What do you advise Priya to do? Are you going to say, Priya, my friend, my sister, my love, Priya, just tell him about the promotion. Just tell him. Just tell him. Just tell him. Is that what you're going to say? Or you're going to look at it and say, well, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. If he doesn't find out, well, I guess that's it. Because honorably, it is a thing of pride for you to say, I came to this point by myself. I worked hard for this. There's honor in it to be able to say, I did something good and I did it big and I did it for myself. But it's so sad when you don't have anyone to share it with. It's really sad. So, what do you think? Should she share the news of the promotion with her husband? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
My name is Tina Gudia Endurance from Sherry Olofin.
Endurance from Sherry Olofin. Thank you very much for calling. All right, Endurance, yeah. What's your advice?
Look, my advice is very simple. To tell the man. Because in our place, there's a parable they used to say. Can make Papa not do them? Now Papa will settle matter. You understand? Mm-hmm. No matter how you hide it, you must find out one day. You understand? And at that time, it's no longer a good news. It will not become a very bad news. And the man will not see you
seen her as somebody that is not trustworthy. I understand her, reservation and all the rest. But the point is, she has to tell the man, this is my situation. This is, you understand? Even if that business, when you come and tell the man, and then you want the man to go and fight. I mean, if somebody has slapped her on the road, don't you come home and tell the man? Definitely.
I can't really answer that. I don't know. If he would do something about it, then maybe she'll tell him. If not, then maybe she'll still tell him.
What I'm saying, if somebody has slapped her on the road, when she gets to the house, we should tell the husband that this is what happened.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I can't answer that question.
You cannot answer that question.
No, I cannot.
You cannot. But the point is very clear. Tell the man, regardless of the action this man is going to take tomorrow, whether it's going to take tomorrow, going to want next 22, but at least you have told the man. How she's going to manage the finance is up to her. That is the best decision I think I will give to her. But keeping the story away from the man is not the best.
All right.
Tell the man that, look, this is my new status and this is my new salary. But however,
wait. Let me ask you this. Do you think she can tell him about the promotion without telling him about her new salary?
That's what I'm saying. You tell the man this is the promotion and this is the salary. But the management of the money, we are going to put heads together. Do you understand? Then let's see the man's suggestion. Men are not stupid.
Well, I agree with that. Men are not stupid. But apparently this particular man doesn't take care of responsibilities, which is why we're having this conversation.
And that's why God is blessing the woman.
No, that's not an excuse. That's really not an excuse. No. You can't say God is blessing the woman. Oh, no. You can't say that. You can't say that God is blessing the woman because the man is not fulfilling his responsibility. You can't say that.
The man is not fulfilling his responsibility. Nobody is arguing that. That is irresponsible on its own part.
Exactly. So what's your solution to that?
Now, the issue that is is either telling him, it's either telling him or not. That is the issue. But what I'm saying, tell the man that the management of the finance should be the responsibility, or it should be the responsibility of the woman, or it should be a joint responsibility. That is it. Because keeping it away from the man, it will not serve them well. They are husband and wife, regardless of what is going on between them. You understand me? So the best option is tell the man.
All right. Thank you. All right, first point of view tonight, saying tell the man. Because if he finds out later on, it's going to be a bigger problem. And he would not feel happy at all finding out by himself, or however he finds out, he's not going to be happy. So he's saying, talk to your husband about it. And the management of the money can depend on you or can depend on your husband, or you ask him his suggestions about how to spend the money that you have made. So however that goes, well, that's his suggestion. All right, kindly call me back if you can. So truth be told, it can be tricky. But he's saying that what's the point of being your husband if you can't tell him things like this? It's good news. So why not tell him? But what do you think? Do you agree? Hello, good evening. Hello, are you there? Hello. All right, please call me back if you can. Yes, this is still Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7, and this is definitely still talking about the story of prayer tonight. Okay, we have another call. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Good evening. What's your name, please? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Agoro.
I am Ide from Agoro. Thank you for calling. What is your advice to prayer tonight?
The thing is that this man said now, there's no point there. You must not tell his husband.
Oh, okay. You disagree with you're saying he shouldn't. You're saying she shouldn't tell him.
No, I disagree with that man. Why will the woman be doing all the whole things inside the whole house? The man is going to be sitting down, coming out and coming back in the night, going out in the morning, so they enjoy the whole money by himself. That's rubbish now. That woman is not your husband.
All right. I immediately thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, Ayomide doesn't agree that he should be told about it. But I will sound this note of warning. Please do not attack any other person's point of view. Please don't attack anybody's point of view. They have a right to think what they want to think. You have a right to think what you want to think. This is a safe space. This is adult conversations. So I believe that we can have civil conversations without being at the brunt of the other person's argument. So thank you very much for that. Well, the conversation is still going on 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. What is the advice to Priye? Do you think she should talk to her husband about the promotion or not? This is still Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7.
He says it all. Women Radio 91.7.
My children are surprises. Adane buys my favorite 3 Crowns milk regularly. And as for Chinedu, that one makes it range with monthly upkeep. They even plan to take me to Dubai someday soon, so I can see Burj Khalifa and other fine places.
Win your mom a trip to Dubai. Buy 3 Crowns milk products worth 2,000 naira. Write a note to say thank you to your mom. Post it on www.3crowns.com.ng and she could be one of the lucky winners to Dubai. Terms and conditions apply. 3 Crowns milk. Healthy moms, happy families.
It is time for all to come together with one voice and pray for our nation, Nigeria. The Agape Prayer Fellowship invites you to the Day of Prayer for Nigeria. Date is Saturday, 17th of September, 2022. Time, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. West African time. Venue is at Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS, Lagos. The Agape Prayer Fellowship, Day of Prayer for Nigeria. All are welcome, irrespective of faith and denomination.
Who says excellence has no reward? Then come to the Nigeria Broadcasting Awards, TNBA, and see the reward for excellence, the GOAT of all awards. The Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria has moved up the ladder in the broadcast industry again, and this time it's with a high-profile event, the Nigeria Broadcasting Awards, TNBA. It's time to recognize and reward excellence in the broadcast industry and celebrate our very own with the prestigious TNBA. There will be awards for outstanding achievement in television, radio, as well as distinguished achievements and meritorious service in broadcasting. There are many other categories added for this year's event, and it will also be a great opportunity to give your products and services that mammoth buzz to move it to the next level. For exhibition, sponsorship, and more information, please visit www.tnbawards.ng.
2023 general election don't come. Time don't come to move Nigeria forward with our vote. Make we join hands together and vote for better candidates. Candidates wey no dey use women play. Candidates wey carry woman matter for head. Women no, make una get una permanent voters card, PVC. Make we vote better.
Na Voice for Women Empowerment Foundation and Women Radio 91.7 bring una this message. Ní Women Radio 91.7 àmọ̀rírì rẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni a sì ń fẹ́ láti súnmọ́ ẹ sí. Ní báyìí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio yóò mú ẹ darapọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn akẹgbẹ́ obìnrin bíi tiẹ̀ ní ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ 36 ní Nàìjíríà. Ṣé oníṣòwò ni ẹ́, oníṣòwò aládàáni, akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nílé ìwé, òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì, ìyàwó ilé tàbí àgbẹ̀? Women Radio wà fún yín láì ná yín ní ohunkóhun. Forúkọsílẹ̀ ní wfm917.com. O sì tún lè darapọ̀ mọ́ ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio ní Facebook group gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́. A ó bá ọ ṣe ìgbélárugẹ okòwò rẹ ní Women Radio tí wàá sì tún láǹfààní láti máa jẹ ẹ̀bùn tó jọjú lóṣooṣù. Dáúnlóòdù mobile app wa kó o sì máa gbọ́ wa níbikíbi tó o bá wà. Ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Women Radio yóò mú ẹ ní àjọṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú akẹgbẹ́ obìnrin bíi tiẹ̀ tó kù. Political arena. The largest religious institutions in Nigeria have failed in enforcing the law in ensuring that members are safe.
Over 180 million people, one country, one capital, 36 states, 469 national assembly seats, 774 local government areas. This is Nigeria.
should stop doing this slave game. He's not really fighting for what he's fighting opponent. He's fighting the man. What's doing in the back?
How well do you know the political terrain of Nigeria? Today, there's no such thing as keeping out of politics. All issues are political games, and we are the players. Political Arena.
Wednesdays, 11:30 a.m.
on Women Radio. Political Arena. Once again, at all levels. Radio Doctor, your free-falling health consultation program. Every Thursday, brings to medical experts in elderly health.
The elderly, their bacteria, their immune system is actually changing. They are becoming like evolving in the sense that their immune system is growing and dwindles. So when it's cold, especially in the mornings, in those areas that it's really cold, I'll advise that you use warm water.
Call in to get free consultation on elderly health on 07000 917 917 and 090 256 25455. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 0703 175 6537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7.
I feel that there's some sort of lack of professionalism in this because we're talking about 100 lives. Government has also put in place a structure to make it look like what they have in mind.
How do we stop crime in the society? Because at the end of the day, if a man cannot provide for his wife anymore, he looks for all that means. Because
We should address Nigeria problem. This is Panorama.
Mondays through Fridays from 9 to 5 a.m.
And WFM 91.7 will bring you ladies from across Nigeria's political zones, dissecting, discussing, and disagreeing on topical issues of the day. You too can join the conversation by tweeting us at WFM 917 with the hashtag Panorama. WFM 91.7, Voice of Women.
Stories of women and girls who have suffered gender-based violence and harassment are common, and this is why we must work together to end gender-based violence by uprooting the seeds from the community. Tune in to Women Lives Matter on Women Radio 91.7 every Monday at 2 p.m. to lend your voice to the fight against gender-based violence. Women Lives Matter will address gender-based violence in the community. Women Lives Matter will seek the collaboration of your community leaders. Women Lives Matter, Mondays 2 p.m. on Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is an initiative of Women Advocates Research and Documentation Center and supported by Ford Foundation.
Fifteen minutes to 7 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and discuss matters relating to the heart. If you're just tuning in, you're welcome. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Tonight, we're profiling the story of Priye, and I'll read the story as sent in so that we can have proper perspective on the story in total. My name is Priye. My husband and I have been married for about 6 years. When we first got married, we told each other what we earned, and I discovered my husband earned almost twice my salary. The problem here is that he never pays for anything or drops money for anything, including the children's school fees, without me asking. And then he'll say that I nag a lot when I know he has the money. Because of this, I end up paying for most things while he spends his money on himself. I recently got promoted at work, and now I earn more than he does. I'm scared that if I tell him of the promotion, he will never step up with the finances of the family. I need advice, please. Now, this is Priye, and she's talking about the situation with the family. Talking about the fact that her husband never drops money for anything, never puts money together for anything, never contributes to anything without being asked. So he has to necessarily be told about it or be asked about it before he can do anything about it, including the children's school fees. Yes, you heard me, including the children's school fees. And now Priye is saying he will now nag and say, I'm always asking for money and I nag a lot. When he knows that he has the money, why not just do it without being told? But she has to ask, and then he'll say, oh, she's nagging. Well, Priya now earns more than her husband does, thanks to a promotion she got recently at work. And now she's saying, if I tell him of the promotion, I feel he will never step up with the finances of the family. But I need advice. Should I tell him or not? Well, that question is up to you to answer tonight. She needs to know, should she tell him of the promotion or not? Now, a school of thought has said, don't tell him. Don't tell him for absolutely no reason. You have good ground not to tell him about the promotion, particularly because he's the type of man who never steps up to the plate for anything. Another school of thought has said, go ahead and tell him because he's going to find out eventually, and it will not be good. Ask him about tips and what to do with the money. Put heads together to manage the money. But what do you think? 07000 917 917 is the number to call. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Could you turn down the volume of your radio, please?
It's off right now.
Thank you so much. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Kate, and I'm coming from Lagos Island.
Thank you very much, Kate. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, thank you very much. But with regard to the topic and right, the way our approach it is like I've been there before, right, where I'm earning more than my husband, and he doesn't use it as an excuse not to pick up some bills. I'll tell him about my promotion, and I won't hide it, because also I can't let him in that, because I would like to pick up on LinkedIn or other platforms that have been promoted, so that I can also market myself.
Okay.
I'll tell him how much I'm going to be my increment is. So if I'm earning like 500,000 or something, I'll put 100,000, and I'll tell him that this my company is stingy, you know. I don't know nothing about it, and I'm like, oh gosh, you know, and I'm constantly nagging, so I will just think, my company is not doing well. But I know how much I downplay it. So I'm going to tell him, because if we're here one way or the other, so there's no problem. I'll tell him. But I'll also play the cards and get along with him. And one thing we ladies need to understand is that we need to stand up for ourselves, really. I don't know my heart up in the short term, but if you want to make a point to make it clear. So that in case of maybe paying the school fees or something.
Yes.
If the choices are home for 1 week, I'm telling you, the man will bring out that school fees. And that is the reality. Many times, when the guys don't pick it up, we quickly pick it up very fast. No. But then we look at our child, the child are looking at us, both of us. It's small by small. You're not getting one day. But you have to continue learning to say no at a point in time. I had to, I didn't get there, but like, I'm not where I want to be either. But I've got to a place where when I'm saying no, and my no will be no, and I'm like, now I'm going to continue to next year. I will not shake. That's what I feel is important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Thank you for calling.
All right. Bye.
Very interesting take on this one. As a matter of fact, there's obviously a spin on it. So she's saying, it's not that you will not tell him more. As a matter of fact, tell him that you got promoted. Because truth be told, he will find out eventually. He'll find out eventually. So she's also saying, I want to market myself as a professional. So I'm going to put it on LinkedIn. I'm going to put it on other social media so that people can know that I'm capable enough at my workplace to get promoted to this new position. But she says she's not going to tell her husband how much came along with the salary. Or even if she will, she would downplay the amount. So imagine if it was a 400,000, 500,000 increment. She would just say, 100,000 and go on and on about it to her husband, making it look like her company is not really appreciating her in terms of money for the new promotion, so that he also know that yes, extra money day, but maybe say 2 day because the difference not too plenty. So you go gas still drop something at the end of the day. All right, call back if you can. 07000 917 917. That's the number to call. Feel free to send in text or WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. Hello, good evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tolu. I'm calling in from Lagos.
Hi, Tolu. Thank you for calling.
Yes, I want to make my own contribution.
Okay.
It's a very dicey situation. But what I would advise the lady is, she has to be diplomatic about it. She should relate to her husband that she had the promotion and try to downplay the income that is coming. Whether we like it or not, women are not slaves. They are meant to support, but there's a responsibility that a man should take control for at home. And if the man is not rising up as expected, the lady has to be very diplomatic about it. You don't need to take the offer letter home. You might just drop it in your drawer in the office, but you can communicate to him that there is a promotion. Try as much as possible to have a strategy session with your husband and rub minds together if he can change based on the responsibility of the man. But if it's not forthcoming, as the day comes by, you need to be diplomatic about it. There is nothing you can do about that. Declare to him that there is a promotion, but tell him don't give him just that amount that you're earning. You can do that for your own personal investment for the future of the children.
Yes.
Because whether you like it or not, when the responsibility becomes getting harder, going to an institution, it might not be forthcoming at all. Open an investment account for the children, like a target account. Most of these investment bank does it. And put those funds there so that in the near future, if it's not coming forward as a father, you know that there is a provision you have made for the children. I think that's my own advice for her, and I wish her all the best.
Thank you very much, Tolu. That is such great advice. Thank you again. Honestly speaking, the idea of investment is so key. I feel like a lot of people nowadays are just coming to terms with the fact that investment is so important. But as was said earlier, he's also saying, don't tell your husband how much exactly it comes with that promotion. Let him know about the promotion. Don't take the offer letter home, but don't play the amount that was accrued to you for the promotion, so that he doesn't know about it and he doesn't get so lackadaisical about his responsibilities that he literally does nothing anymore, believing that you can do it all. So don't do that. But it's also saying, for the benefit of your children, open an investment account with any of the investment banks, like a Target account, where you can keep on accruing money for your children going forward. You know, this is very important. When the last caller said, women, we need to put our foot down sometimes. Honestly, it is critical. That is so critical. And Tolu also mentioned being diplomatic about this kind of conversations, having a strategy session with your husband about these things. Let him know that this life we are living is not the way we are supposed to be living. Let him understand that what he's doing is wrong and try to encourage him to do better. You know, there are ways you can talk to someone that you would motivate them rather than put them down. So maybe you should try that. Okay, try calling me back. This is a message from Goodness from Aja. And Goodness is saying, I'm really getting angry here because of what the man said, that he should tell her husband. Why would she tell her husband with all this attitude of his? To me, my advice to her is that she shouldn't tell her husband for now, till she sees that he has changed and started doing the needful for the family. Thank you so much, Goodness. And I can understand your anger, believe me. I can understand the position from which you're viewing this. It's especially important that children be taken care of. You know, it's not in every in fact, I don't think there's any situation that the husband and wife are going through so many issues and it can tell on the children. Sometimes it will, but not to the point where they're the ones suffering. So we definitely need to do better with these conversations. Husbands, we need to step up. Wives, we need to step up. And truth be told, it's a partnership. Marriage is a partnership. I wish more people will understand that. Marriage is a partnership. Nobody should be left behind. Nobody should drop the ball. Nobody should be left behind. If I can look, how do they say that again? If I can have your back, and I trust that you have my back, there's no need to look back because you know I have your back. Come on now. The truth of the matter is, however that sounded, believe me, there's a lot of truth to it. If I have your back and you have my back, you don't have to look back, and I don't have to look back because I know you have my back. I'm safe. Because I know that if I drop something, you're going to pick it up. If you drop something, I'm going to pick it up. We're safe with each other because we understand the dynamic of the partnership that we work in. A lot of promises are made when people get married, only to get into the marriages, and realities are different. Now, believe me, realities will be different as time goes on. You know, not everything will be rosy as it was on the wedding day or as it was during the relationship. But when it comes to certain things that are so simple, I mean, it's not like you're having a hard time making money, and it's not like you're not making any money. And if that's the case, why not confide in this person that you call your better half? Why not confide in this person that's the mother of your children, the person who understands you the most? Why not confide in them so that this person can give you advice? This person can be a shoulder to cry on. This person can motivate you. This person can help find solution. You don't know if the next key to your breakthrough, and I'm going to sound like a pastor right now, you don't know if the key to your breakthrough lies in the hands of that man that you're not talking to, that you're hiding something from. He's your husband, talk to him. You don't know if the key to your breakthrough lies in the hands of that woman that you're not telling the thing that's bothering you to. She's your wife, talk to her. 2 minutes to 7, and this is still Adult Conversations on Women Radio 91.7, and we're still talking about Priya's story. Priya's question is basically, should I tell him about the promotion? What do you think? Do you think she should tell him about the promotion? And in case you're wondering what promotion, again, I'm going to read the story specifically as it was sent. This is so that I'm not paraphrasing, I don't miss any information, and you understand it just as it was sent. My name is Priya. My husband and I have been married for 6 years, and he always complains when I ask him for money around the house. When we first got married, we told each other what we earned, and I discovered my husband earns almost twice my salary. The problem here is he never pays for anything or drops money for anything if I don't ask him, including the children's school fees. And then he'll say that I nag a lot when I know he has the money. Because of this, I end up paying for most things while he spends the money on himself. I just got promoted at work and I now earn more than he does. I'm scared that if I tell him of the promotion, he will never step up with the finances of the family. I need advice, please. If you're a woman and you've been through this before, If you've been in these shoes before, if you've walked in Priye's shoes before, please give her advice. She wants to know what to do, and she needs to know how to navigate this whole situation. You've been through it, then please share your experience and give her advice. If you're a man and it's the other way around, your wife doesn't contribute to anything, or you're the one who spends most money on yourself, share with us as to why you do these things. And of course, give advice to Priye. And of course, even to the husband. I'm sure Priye would relay the information eventually. But why would a man, and honestly, this is a true question coming from me, because at this point, I'm wondering, why would a man with children, it's okay if you don't want to take care of your wife because you think she's working now, she can take care of herself too. That is for your wife. She can buy her own shoes, she can buy her own hair, she can buy her own clothes. If you feel the need not to pamper her, not to spoil her, not to buy things for her, well, that's your understanding. But when there are children involved, when there are children that you both brought to this world, why wouldn't you want to pay their school fees? Why wouldn't you want to buy books for them? Why wouldn't you want to make sure that there's food on the table for them? Why wouldn't you want to make sure that they have everything that they need without being asked? Why? I would really appreciate it if I have some kind of answer to this question. And this is why I said earlier that if there's a problem, so Priya could be there thinking, my husband still earns a lot of money. I know what he used to earn. It's been 6 years. So chances are that maybe he's been demoted. Maybe he has changed places. Maybe his boss don't like him anymore and not giving him any favors. Anything could have happened. But do you know about these happenings? Did he share them with you? Hello, good evening. Good evening. What's your name, please? Where are you coming from? Lady B, thank you very much for calling. How are you doing today? I'm all right. Thank you very much for calling. Please stay here.
I would just suggest to her that she keep everything to herself. Because there are some men who feel like, okay, let me just be diplomatic about it. Let me just say this to him. So that for the way and when I listen to this story, if he said this to the man, it will get worse. If the man is sick, you'll be surprised if the man will say, go and pay my hospital bills. That woman is suffering. She needs some help. Mentally, psychologically, not only to say, don't tell your husband alone. So I think she should just keep this to herself and behave as if nothing has happened. No promotion, nothing. So she should just continue taking care of her children because she wants to be in that marriage. If not, if she can take care of herself and the children, she should step aside. Let that man come back to her senses. She should give some space. I'm not saying she should divorce the man. She can step aside so that the man will come back to her senses because it's not proper that a woman will be taking a man's responsibilities no matter how much the woman is earning. If it were the man, he won't do it. So why must they allow the woman? Even if it's written in the Bible that it is worse than an infidel. If a man cannot take care of his own family. So I don't think that woman is not enjoying that marriage. She should
Thank you very much, Lady B. Thank you for calling. Still saying don't tell him. Don't tell him because it will keep him in that lax, relaxed position where he is. It will keep him thinking that you can handle everything in the home. And that thought, that idea that, oh, she's got it all, she can handle it. She's saying they promoted her. That means she even has even more money. Would keep him very relaxed. At the end of the day, even when you ask, so now you're probably thinking at least you have to nag a bit, or he says you have to nag, but what you're doing is actually just asking for money for your children, which, as you've said, you know he has. It will get to that point where you would ask for the money and he will say, but didn't you just get a promotion? You have more money, so pay for it. And that would be the worst thing, because at that point you can't even take anything back because you told him. So Lady B is saying, better off just don't tell him. Don't tell him. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with not telling him at all? Do you agree with telling him but not telling him the full amount that you were promoted with? Or do you agree with telling him and telling him the money specifically? What are your thoughts? Call me on 07000 917 917 and let me hear your thoughts. Give advice to Prayer, and she needs it. Believe me, she needs it. All right, this one is coming in from Ceci Otegbayo from Agor Palace Way, Okota, Lagos. Ceci is saying, do not tell him. He will eventually get to know, and that's where you will sit him down or stand him up and tell him that he's not owning up to his responsibility as a man. This is why you hid it from him. Stand your ground, Prayer. He might not even be happy for you. Somebody that wants you to do everything and call you a nag. If you do not stand your ground on some things in marriage, you won't like the outcome in future. And this is coming from Ceci Otegbayo from Agor Palace Way, Okota. I have to say on this one because, this is the second person saying stand your ground. There are really some things where you can't just let it go in stride anymore. You need to put your foot down and make certain declarations, make certain stands known so that the future will be a lot better than the present. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. This is Young again.
Okay, hello, Young. Thank you for calling. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I'm not trying to attack anybody, but I'm just trying to look at it from another perspective. Okay.
All right.
Now, as the husband, you just told me that you got promoted, and I look at the position you're promoted to, and the amount that is added to your salary is not, is not anything compared to the promoted position. What if I tell you as the husband to resign from that job?
I'm not sure what that...
You understand the scenario I'm trying to get now? I can tell you that the job, the promotion, and the amount that is paid is nothing. Therefore, you have to resign that position. You have to resign that appointment. So that's the reason why if she's going to tell him everything. If you're not going to tell him, don't tell him anything at all. That's why I stand Don't just tell him. Don't just put everything away. You advertise yourself. When you want to apply for another job, you put your credentials, you put your CV, in your CV. Your position will be contained in your CV, not only on social media that you promote. You parade yourself as a manager or with standards or any company. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Ladies, well, that one is for you specifically. And this is because he's basically asking that if you tell your husband that you got promoted, but you downplay the amount, you don't say specifically the full amount. Say you were promoted with a 400,000 naira increase, and you say that you were promoted with the 100,000 naira increase. He's kind of going to gauge the amount, the position in which you were promoted to, and think, we've been promoted from officer to manager. Shouldn't that come with like at least a 200K increase? How can you be saying they're paying you only 100K for this? And then, he might go, maybe you need to resign. Your company doesn't appreciate you. Maybe you need to resign. My first question is, if this is coming from somebody who is not owning up to any responsibility in the house. Somebody, or let's be fair and not say any responsibility, because what he says in the story is he doesn't do anything unless he is asked. So nobody say no, they do. They do, but you guys ask him plenty times before he go do 'em. So he has to be told, he has to be reminded, he has to be nudged, he has to be persuaded before he actually gets anything done, which is why he calls his wife a nag. But aside that, for somebody who barely does much, telling you to resign because he thinks that your company doesn't appreciate you enough because the amount is not, to him, commensurate with the promotion position, is that even tenable? So I'm putting this out there and I'm asking you now, if you're the lady in question, if you're Priya, and here you are trying to ask yourself, oh, should you tell him? And maybe you got the brilliant idea to tell him and downplay the amount, and he says, oh, your company doesn't recognize you, they don't appreciate you enough because they should have given you more than that. Possibly in his mind, because he knows that if you get more than that, you'll be able to do more. But of course, he's not saying that. He's just, becoming angered on behalf of you in the company. Would you resign? Would you actually resign because he said so? Because honestly, I've never really understood how that works. When a woman resigns because her husband said so. So truth be told, there are very unique situations where something like that might happen. For instance, if you're constantly complaining to your husband about the type of work you do, or if your mental health is physically is straining, your mental health is being so strained that it's even affecting you physically. You're falling sick, you're always complaining of sickness or of headache when you come back from work. Your boss calls you at odd hours, doesn't recognize that you work, that you even have a family, lets you go at odd hours at night, and you're doing way more than your workload. Other people in your team are not carrying enough workload, and the list goes on. If your husband tells you, babe, I think you need to resign, you're doing way too much for these people that they're doing for you. If that's a good place for you to be at that point in your career, it might be tricky to resign because he said so. But you may think about it and decide, you know what, maybe I should resign. Maybe I really should resign. But if everything is fine and your company is really treating you well, but according to him, they're not paying you enough, or they are not giving you exactly what he thought they should be giving you with regards to the promotion, and he says resign, you that knows the truth of the matter, will you resign because, again, he said so? So it could be tricky, as I've said, but I just want to know, will you resign? I'm going to go on Facebook and take some message off of Facebook. This one is coming in from Adetutu Adesoya. He says, or she says, yes, this is a she, the mind never misleads. You already know it's going to be a problem. Avoid it and live with happiness, fulfillment, and peace of mind. The mind never misleads. You already know that it's going to be a problem. Avoid it and live with happiness, fulfillment, and peace of mind. Austin Patrick is saying, do not tell him. Oh, don't tell him. If you do, that is most likely the end. Please and please buy properties in the name of your children. Invest in them. You're a single mom who is married. This hit different when you say it out loud. You're a single mom who's married. Your husband, okay, I can't read that because that's being very judgmental. Goes on to say, later in life, when the kids hold on to you well, people will say you poisoned the mind of the kids against him. Hide your financial information very, very well, please. Ehikamen Godwin is saying, you don't have to disclose your promotion to him, but contribute to the financial necessary needs at home. But isn't this already what she does? Isn't this already what she does, being that she controls or she addresses most of the needs at home because she can't nag all the time? But her husband needs her to ask all the time before he can do anything. And sometimes she just doesn't want to do that. So mostly she handles things in the home. But she's already doing that, right? Nicholas Isaac Soporici says, please don't tell him and be discreet about it. Meanwhile, use your money wisely and invest in your kids because they are your retirement plan. Nabuefe Former says, don't tell him of the promotion. It might make things worse. Just be anonymous about it. Interesting. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Casey. I just want to contribute on what is being discussed today. I want to delve a little bit away from what everybody, the line of thought of the majority of those that have responded.
Okay.
Okay, now, I think we need to go back to the pages. The lady needs to go back to the pages. The issue of salary increase or salary raise promotion is an addendum. That is not the basis. The basis or the key issue or the problem statement here is that the man is not responding to financial issues in the family. I think that is a problem that needs to be solved. It is when that is solved, then this issue of salary raise comes up, will then follow. Now,
Okay.
she needs to look at, could it there be that there is not enough discussion going on within the family? Could the man be going through financial issues that the lady does not know about? So there needs to be some form of discussion between both parties to understand this is the financial responsibilities that need to be catered for in this family. How do you go about it as a couple? What are you going to be responsible for? What am I going to be responsible for based on the finance that comes to the family from both the husband and the wife? So it is when that issue is sorted out, then the issue of salary increase for the lady part then will come in. Obviously, I would not advise the lady to disclose not to disclose her salary with the husband. I think for the purpose of those that are not yet married, I think it's not a good line of advice for you to tell the lady not to disclose her salary or the couple. It can be either the man as well. There needs to be a whole lot of transparency between the husband and the wife. So if there are any monetary issues, financial increment, it needs to be known to both parties.
Okay, so let me say something concerning that.
Sorted out at first.
All right.
So there needs to be understanding, communication, and how expenses need to be sorted out. And when that is done, I don't think there's any issue with promotion, getting more money.
Yes, you have a good point. You have a good point. But here's the thing. I'm going to start from the back, which is where you talked about not saying to people that they shouldn't disclose the amount, be you a man or a woman, for the benefit of those that are unmarried. Now, I'm sure anybody who's listening right now, to a large extent, gets the body of the story. And this is a significantly unique situation. This is not an umbrella situation. Could you turn down the volume of your radio for me, please? I can hear the feedback and it's very distracting. Hello? Hello? All right. Well, bottom line here, which is what I'm trying to say, is that he does make a really good point, which is if you're unmarried right now and you're tuning in and you're listening and you're getting all this advice that the woman is not to tell her husband how much she earns, please understand that this is advice from people who think that this is the best road to take regarding this particular unique situation, this singular situation. Now, this is not an umbrella advice that, oh, if you're getting married, don't talk about how much you earn, or if you're already married and you get a promotion, don't tell your husband how much you earn. This is not to say that. This specifically says, even in the story, that when we first got married, we talked about how much we earned. And that's when I got to know that my husband earns almost twice my salary. And of course, at that point, they would have figured out who's doing what and how, where both of us come together, how your money, what percentage of your money is your money, and what percentage of your money is our money, and what, of course, is accrued to the children and to investment and all of that. They would have come up with a financial plan. I believe most couples should know enough to do that going into marriage. But this is now 6 years later when this man is proving not to stand up to his responsibilities as a father, which is to provide for the children, to be there for the children. Now, he may be doing everything else, but in terms of provision, he's really lagging behind, which is where this advice by the last caller makes perfect sense. Maybe there's a problem, and I mentioned this earlier. Maybe there's a problem with his finances. You know, initially, he was earning almost twice her salary when they first got married. Now, remember, again, this is 6 years ago. So chances are, if we're being 100% honest, that is the same salary he earns. or his salary has even gone down because you forget that there was COVID and there was the whole situation. So anything could have changed, and this time maybe not for good. Now, if something happened and it happened not for good, like it happened negatively, maybe COVID affected him, his salary was slashed into two, and or they put him on commission basis, and or he needs to meet the targets and they give him commission, whatever the case may be. Shouldn't that thing that has changed with his finances, with his income, be relayed to his wife? So minus sharing of responsibilities or sharing of the financial responsibilities, there's obviously a gap somewhere in their communication. There's a gap, a significant gap somewhere. And believe me, I don't know how it works in Preye's marriage, but to a large extent, this will not just be restricted to financial responsibility. If they're not talking to each other about what's going on in hard situations like, oh, if I lost my job, or if my company slashed my salary, or if this or if that, if there's something going on with his finances that he's not telling Preye, then there are chances that there are other things going on in his life that he's not telling her. Just the way, because he's holding back information, she would also be holding back information. Again, not because she's sure that he's holding back, but because she can feel. Most women have that intuition thing going. So she may be able to feel that my husband is not, so their relationship they might have a bit of tension in their relationship, which is now playing out as financial issues. So maybe that's the problem. So definitely those need to be addressed. Most definitely. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Briefly, it's Lady B calling back.
All right.
This incident, I think some men are very good at it. My friend that works with a company before, I don't want to mention the name.
Okay.
Married to this guy who happens to be another, he works. And when they newly married, the guy will be telling the lady, they've not paid me. All the salary that this my friend collected, she used it to furniture the house, did the whole, even the wedding, half of the wedding, she's the one that contributed the money, did everything. This is a real life story.
Okay.
Did everything. When they finished the marriage, do you know the family of the man thought it was the man buying those things, designing the house, doing everything. They started coming, demanding. Then later did they know that it was the woman that has been doing all that just to cover up
for the man.
Told her that she has not been paying him. So one day, after closure of work, she said she went home early just to go and rest before cooking. So she realizes that everywhere was too dirty because she has not been going home that early. So she started cleaning up the house. When she was cleaning the house, my dear, come and see where this man has packed a whole huge lot of receipts that he has been using to pay school fees for his siblings. Paying school fees, sending money to this person, that person, this person. Whereas he told the wife that they've not been paying him shishi from how many months ago. When the lady saw this, she said she fainted. She fainted there and there. When the man came, she did not ask the man anything before the man would deny. She now came to me and was telling me, I said, okay, you place the diplomacy here. Don't ask the man anything. What you do is that you won't be cooking again. If he asks you, tell him that you did not collect salary, you will not pay you. That was how he was able to escape from that too. So this thing that we are saying, it's not a thing that are happening and it's real. So let's be sincere with our judgment so that this woman will know where she stands. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady B. Thank you for sharing that story, because honestly, I'm so, I don't even have the right word right now to explain how hurt that makes me feel. Because that is taking advantage of someone. You've taken advantage of their love for you. You've taken advantage of their goodwill. You've taken advantage of the faith that they have in you, the trust that they have in your word. That when you say, oh, they've not paid me, they trust that you're being honest, that they really haven't paid you. There's no problem in the world with supporting your siblings or supporting your family or supporting an ex or supporting anybody you want to support. There's no problem with that. It's your money. But the problem with that is when we become married, it now becomes money that is for our family. It's your money, but it's for our family. And now you just lie about it. This is something that is very heartbreaking, extremely heartbreaking. I can totally understand why she fainted when she found out that information. Now, I honestly cannot go back to Lady B's friend's story and keep on talking about it because I don't know the full details. But I will say this about Priya's story. Priya's story doesn't have to get to that point. It doesn't have to get to the point where her husband now doesn't do anything at all because he can trust that if he doesn't do it, she will do it. There's absolutely no reason for things to get to that point. They can talk about it. They can move forward. They can find a way around it now, which is why the schools of thought that have said sometimes you need to put your foot down. I can understand where that's coming from. I can totally understand where that's coming from. Again, because the issue might not be the money. It might be communication breakdown, which is the fact that maybe he's going through something and he's not talking to her about it, which is why you can wake up one morning and say, oh, she's nagging. Somebody that you never used to say she's nagging now suddenly starts nagging because she's asking you for money that she believes that you have to take care of the family. In reality, if you don't have that money, shouldn't that be a good time to say, babe, this, and this, and this, and I'll let it this, and this, and this has made me lose my job at the end of the day, or has made me not be able to earn as much as I used to. Whatever the case may be, shouldn't that bond be there strong enough that you can tell your partner almost anything? Particularly when it comes to money, nobody jokes with money, particularly when there are children involved. And it's sad because a lot of men actually take advantage of that when there are children involved because they know that more often than not, women will move heaven and earth to see that their children actually still go to school, be it public school, be it private school, whatever the case is. They know without any shadow of doubt that women will move heaven and earth to get their children in school. So they would borrow, they would hawk, they would do whatever it is, they would beg, they would, whatever it is they have to do, they will do it. But this shouldn't be taken advantage of. I'm not saying that all men do this, but for the women that have experienced it, most times it was a man that did that to them. And it's really painful. It's really painful. So in cases like this, they need to build that trust back. Whatever it is that has broken in the course of that marriage needs to be rebuilt. Because obviously, it's not really just about the money. It's not really just about, it's manifesting, it's showing, it's becoming more obvious in the monetary aspect of things. But if you look very well, there's not much of a friendship in that marriage anymore, because when you're friends, you can really sit down, be comfortable, trust your friend enough to share certain things with them. There might be a major challenge with communication, with trust, with love in this marriage, which needs to be helped. So, whatever the case is, let me just tailor it back to the original point of conversation. Priya has received this big promotion, but she can't tell how this will affect the finances of the family if she tells her husband. She can't predict if he's going to sink even lower than where he is right now with providing, because he believes that, oh, now when you don't get extra money, at least you go feed the remaining one where they do. So this one way they nag for my ear every day. They ask me school fees. You know, gonna make that kind of noise again. Why? Because you get the money, and you get the money, and I know say you get them. The same way she's constantly asking him because she believes that he has it. That's the way he will constantly be doing almost nothing, because he knows that if he doesn't do it, she will do it. And you wonder why women say, okay, babe, can you give me 50,000? And the man says, oh, I don't have. And then the woman asks, okay, should I borrow it from me? And then you pay me back the money later. And you wonder why women do that. You just wonder. So honestly speaking, there's a whole lot that needs to be said in this marriage. But what are your thoughts concerning the promotion and breaking the news to her husband? Do you think it's a wise idea? I want to hear your thoughts. The number to call is 07000 917 917. 07000 917 917. Send in your text and WhatsApp messages to 0703 175 6537. This is still Adult Conversations.
News says it all. Human Radio 91.7.
My better people better don't land. Life Medicare HMO now one of that Obonge health maintenance organization where our government stamp gidigba for health insurance matter. My country people, why you go sick before you cover yourself? What if money no dey when you fall sick? Life Medicare HMO get better health plan and benefit for organized private sector, schools, communities, and even private individuals and families. Life's premium for all their plans dey pocket friendly. Na shikini money. Life's hospital network na all over Naija. They fit help you arrange treatment for Obodo Oyibo. Their head office na number 2 Osho Street, Okpebi Link Bridge, off Okpebi Road, Ikeja, Lagos. For more information, call 080-93-555-863 or 080-3263-9058. I say health protection in your colors.
It is time for all to come together with one voice and pray for our nation, Nigeria. The Agape Prayer Fellowship invites you to the Day of Prayer for Nigeria. Date is Saturday, 17th of September, 2022. Time, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. West African time. Venue is at Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS, Lagos. The Agape Prayer Fellowship, Day of Prayer for Nigeria. All are welcome, irrespective of faith and denomination.
But wow, this dey happen my fellow women to be ready for any form of attack, harassment, assault. You dey tell make you go this Obonge website wey be www.restforher.com. wey Rest for Her project don arrange for you or download her mobile app for Play Store to learn how to defend yourself. You fit also ask for help if person assault or harass you or anybody wey you know by calling 0800 40 40 40 40 for free. No wait until it happens to you before you prepare yourself.
2023 general election don't come. Time don't come to move Nigeria forward with our votes. Make we join hands together and vote for better candidates. Candidates wey no dey use women play. Candidates wey carry woman matter for head. Women make una get una permanent voters card PVC. Make we vote better.
My Voice for Women Empowerment Foundation and Women Ready 91.7 bring una this message.
Are you searching for durable, guaranteed, elegant, affordable home products? At Eleganza Industrial City Limited, we put you first. From plastic chairs for adults and babies, party tables and school tables, disposable plates and cups, as well as reusable plastics, food warmers and cooling boxes, trash bins of various sizes, baby diapers, lady sanitary care products, luggage of various sizes, hair threads, and lots more. Eleganza Industrial City Limited has got you covered with our elegantly designed products in unique shapes and sizes. Visit us at kilometer 68 Lekki Epe Expressway after Eleko Junction, Ibeji Lekki, Lagos. Or you can call 081-801-99999 or 090-914-73665. Or you can send us an email at eleganzaindustrialcity@yahoo.com or info@eleganzagroups.com or sales@eleganzagroups.com. You can visit our website www.eleganzagroups.com. Eleganza Industrial City Limited. The name is our guarantee. Radio Doctor, your free-phone health consultation program. Every Thursday brings you medical experts in elderly health.
The elderly, they are peculiar. Their body system is actually changing. They are becoming like a newborn baby in the sense that their immunity wanes and dwindles. So when it's cold, especially in the mornings, in those areas that it's really cold, I'll advise that they use warm water.
Call in to get free consultation on elderly health on 07000 917 917 and 090
256-254-55. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 0703-175-6537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7.
Whatever you call it, be it hot to cool, devil, gist, or gossip, best believe we've got you covered 100%. Join me NY and Snow every Friday at 7:15 p.m. for the best of entertainment gist only on Block Fib.
What are the consequences of corruption on the woman? Silence. Silence through diverse forms. Education, healthcare, laws and policies fostering unfavorable conditions to the woman at all levels. The woman agenda breaking that silence, demanding accountability, transparency and good governance. The woman agenda is deliberate and calculative in amplifying the voice of women. The woman agenda, Fridays 3 p.m. on Women Radio 91.7, a platform on the way forward.
Tell him all the music they play is jams on this. It's the bomb. It's the bomb, baby.
The best, baby. We're bringing it to you live. This is Human Radio. 91.7.
Twenty-three minutes to 8 on Women Radio 91.7, and this is still Adult Conversations, where we share real life issues and we discuss matters relating to the heart. Once again, I'm Sumtu Titilayo Ajama, and if you're just tuning in, you're in the right place and you're welcome. Tonight on Adult Conversations, we're profiling the story of Priya. Priya is saying that she and her husband have been married for 6 years, and for some reason, he never drops money at home for anything. If he's going to drop money, she has to ask him, to persuade him, to remind him. He never does anything without being asked, including the children's school fees. And then he goes on to call her a nag because she knows that he has the money to drop, but he's not dropping it. Now, she's saying that this has been the case for a while, but when they first got married, they were very honest with each other about how much they earned, how much money they made from their work. Now, it was in the course of that conversation that she found out that her husband earns almost twice her salary, which was perfectly fine, being that they just got married, things are still rosy, how it goes in the early stages of marriage. Yes. Now, fast forward 6 years later, I don't know what changed. He barely does anything for the home without being asked. And now she's saying she recently just got a promotion at work. And that promotion comes with a big salary, and now she earns more than he does. Yes, she earns more than he does. And now this is the issue. She's asking, should she tell him about the promotion, knowing that he will not step up with the finances of the family? She's wondering, should I tell him about the promotion or not? Should she tell him? What do you think? The number to call is 07000-917-917. 07000-917-917. Should she tell him about the promotion? That is the question here right now. We're not pointing fingers. We're not trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. We're not trying to escalate any issues and make it look like marriage is not blissful, marriage is not beautiful, because it is. It all just goes back to being the kind of husband you want to be, the kind of husband your wife wants you to be, and being the kind of wife that your husband wants you to be. Together, the dream works. But if one person drops the ball and the other person starts to feel overwhelmed, then there's a problem. I was talking about this earlier, that maybe, just maybe he's not earning that much money anymore. Maybe he's going through a rough patch at work, which she doesn't know about. Then that leads me to my next question. Why wouldn't she know about it if he didn't tell her? I mean, why would she know if he didn't tell her? There's no way for her to know if he didn't tell her. There's no way under the sun for her to find out that there's something going wrong at work that has made him not be able to make the same money that she thinks he used to make. So, do you advise that she tells him about the promotion or not? Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please tell me your name or where you're calling from.
Okay, I'm Mike. I'm calling from Shenbukedu, Agabra.
All right, Mike, thank you very much for calling. All right, please go ahead.
Yes. Sometimes I think the issue is that from the outside of the marriage, from the onset, there have been sincerity. Because if we started to marry, both of them, the marriage, from what you are analyzing, they don't know how much each bride person has been earning.
Are you talking about now, or you're talking about back?
No. Well, no, from back then. Then, secondly, too, I'm sorry to say, the woman also has indulged the woman so much, and is not taking her for a ride. So, if she go ahead, I'm have to say it the way it is as a man. If you go ahead now and tell him about his promotion, she'll become a slave to their house. The man become more irresponsible because it means if he has not been taking responsibility now, what is he doing with his money?
Well, according to her, he has been spending it on himself.
Is what?
According to her, he has been spending it on himself. Minus the little that he drops when she has to ask him over and over again.
It means that man has a commitment outside the home, so she shouldn't tell him and take care of herself and the children. He has another commitment outside, because I don't know a man can be saying he take care of himself. Which himself? I'm a man.
You know, you actually have a very good point that he must be spending the money on something else, right?
Yes, yeah. There's another commitment outside that is not known to the wife.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you for calling.
So the woman should take care of her child, herself and the children, and make sure that promotion is to her herself alone, because he already is a responsible person. So if you know that the woman is any more than that, you come with this, but there has not been any commitment at all.
But let me ask you one final question. Do you think she should keep asking him for things, for him to drop money for children? Because now, I'm asking this because he is already saying that, oh, she's nagging, she's doing this, she's doing that. Do you think she should still continue? Because if she stops, he may not do anything anymore.
No, she should go ahead. It's his responsibility. It's his responsibility. So she should ask for it. She should demand for it. It's his responsibility.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for calling. Interesting point of view. Now, this is a very valid point. Coming from a man, and I asked this question earlier, that why would a man not want to pay for the bills, for his own children's school fees? Why won't he want to pay for things around the house? And to a large extent, this may not suffice for every single man who's going through this kind of thing. But it makes sense that he has other commitments outside of the house. Now, what those commitments are, I don't know. I'm not saying he's cheating. I'm not saying he has another family outside. You didn't hear that from me. But I'll let you think whatever you want to think on that one. But obviously, he can't be spending his money. How many watches can you possibly buy? How many trousers? How many shoes can you possibly buy as a man back to back? So, what do you think? Though he's saying, don't tell her. Don't tell him. Hello, good evening. Mr. Darlington?
You are not too sure.
Mr. Darlington, thank you for calling.
How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for calling. How are you doing today?
I'm alright. At least the rain did not fall like Monday.
No. At least that's good news, actually.
Okay. I was telling somebody that with this cold weather and this rain, by early next year, the maternity ward will be filled up.
Mr. Darlington. Okay, I'm just going to say because honestly, if I go on that particular thought, we're going to sleep here today.
It's okay. I hope my dearest girlfriend is because we have left her. I thought she has not given me visa, so I would have paid the visit to.
Don't worry.
The only people who are in love, who don't know the house of each other.
Hopefully that will change sooner than later. All right, Mr. Darlington, let's take the thoughts.
Now, something.
Yes.
Wherever there is peace in a home, one person is holding that peace. Go and check. Anywhere where there is peace and 2 or 3 people are there, one person is holding that peace, is maintaining that peace. So if this woman wants peace of her home and she can afford to maintain herself and her children, let her go ahead. Let her not reveal her new promotion to the man. One day this man will feel so imbalanced that in fact he will find himself being a nuisance in that home when the woman does not ask him of anything. He will sit down one day and ask himself questions, and those children will be watching what is going on. They will be the one to confront him later in life. So the woman should go ahead, because if she goes ahead to ask him now, then nagging will start. And eventually this man will come and blame her that you are disturbing me. You are too demanding. You are too this. I know that kind of woman being. When they don't want to take responsibility, they will use all manner of excuse and blame it on the woman. That the woman is nagging, is disturbing them, she's demanding too much. Meanwhile, you have not even done anything, no. So let the woman go ahead. Those children will grow up to realize who is actually taking care of things. You don't need to say it. That is what I feel.
All right.
You should not reveal that promotion. You should not.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're saying she shouldn't tell him about the promotion, but she should continue to hold down. She should continue to hold down the family and continue to pay for everything, irrespective of the fact that he's not living up. Okay.
Yes. Even food. When she cook, give him, let him eat. He is eating his thing now. Let him continue to eat free food. Abi? Even when she can afford, when he come in the night for the other room, let her equally agree so that there will be peace.
Mr. Darlington, see that part that you're talking about is not as easy as it sounds. It is not.
She will not give that one.
I'm not saying she won't. I'm just saying it's not as easy as it sounds, particularly when you're not happy with the other person. If you're not happy with the other person, then it just becomes a robotic duty at the end of the day. You're not enjoying it. So who does that one help now at the end of the day?
Well, the thing is that, there are things you give reluctantly.
Every time, every single time.
Reluctantly.
You can give it out 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but every single time, because he will keep asking. So how reluctantly can you give something over and over again?
No. The woman will draw boundaries now. At the point, the man will be ashamed to even come close. Yes, now, that's the way you will be asking something from somebody. And even Satan has conscience. He has conscience. That's why he does not attack everybody. There are those he will go to, there are those he will not go near them. So at the point, this man will say, what kind of woman is this? he doesn't talk, this and that, it will touch his heart. So that is what I feel, though, because if the woman goes ahead now, the level of indiscipline and irresponsibility will be higher. You now say, oh, so you are earning so much, Abi. In fact, you even go and commit outside. I ask the woman to go and settle it.
All right.
So that is it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darlington. Thank you for calling. All right, I'm going to read this message from Adeni Riaris Akintade, who says, "Good evening, ladies. Nice work. But tell her not to say anything to the husband because he is not a straightforward person. He's probably seeing someone else outside." Well, this is literally what I meant when I said I'm not saying anything. I'm not the one saying anything. I'm not the one talking about whatever responsibility he has outside. Now, I mean, again, that's not me. That's not me. But here's my point, which is, I'm going to piggyback on what Mr. Darlington just said, which is tell him. I mean, don't tell him about the promotion. Don't tell him about the promotion, but continue to fulfill the family's responsibilities. Don't tell him, but continue to do what you can with what you can afford. And it will get to a point where he will get embarrassed and he would realize that he has erred in a major way. And then he will be so embarrassed. Even the children at that point will have figured out what's going on. Because believe me, the children are growing. They're growing every day. So one day you wake up and then you realize your father never drops anything. He never talks to you about how much your school fees is. Has there been an increment? Well, when last did your... Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then you're concerned as a child, like, is it that this man doesn't even care? Or what exactly is going on? But don't even get it twisted, because some men will still never get to that point of embarrassment. And even if they do, they will not let you know that they feel that way. They'll just believe that you got it all covered, just like you always have. So keep doing it because you've been doing it. Which is sad, because as I've said before, marriage is supposed to be a partnership. I'm hoping to a large extent that things are figured out in Priye's home. We at Adult Conversations here, we don't believe in breaking homes. We don't believe in families breaking up. We really want the family unit to stand strong because it really is the smallest and strongest unit of any society. We really want it to stand strong, but there are cases sometimes when you really just have to look the other way or make another choice, make a different, harder choice. So in cases like that, we believe that you have to do what you have to do. But in cases where you can wing it, where you can do certain things and you feel that that's the best decision that you can make, then again, do what you have to do. But in Priye's situation specifically today, to a large extent, her husband has a lot of stepping up to do. And most people have said tonight, don't tell him about it. Some other people have said, tell him, but don't tell him the full amount that comes along with the promotion. And then some other people said, tell him everything and continue doing what you've been doing. Because at the end of the day, he will realize that he's making a big mistake and he will step up at the end of the day. Now, whatever advice you will take at the end of the day, your children are the most important thing here. And that's what I need to reiterate. Thank you very much for tuning in. And this is where I draw the curtain on Adult Conversations today. I'm sure that Priye will be able to take an informed decision based off of the advice that you've given tonight. On behalf of Priye, I say thank you again, and I hope you will join me tomorrow, same time, same station on Adult Conversations. Thank you very much to the engineers on duty and to my studio assistant, Eniola. Please keep safe and have a peaceful night. My name is Sumto Titilayo Ajama. Good evening.